Every time you walk into a home, you walk on the floor. It's the first thing under your foot and the last thing people notice until it's wrong. Today I'm sitting with Randy Mostad, owner of Carpet One Floor and Home right here in Billings. Randy, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Randy, I'm curious, you grew up in a flooring family, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and your dad had started this business back in 1959 in Polson and Missoula.
Right.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit about your experience from growing up in that kind of family.
We had a pretty big family. So Dad moved, he was in California, moved to Polson in 1959 and started selling flooring. He was 25 years old and had 2 kids, and my mom had me on the way. And we stayed in Polson until about 1967. Moved to Missoula because bigger town, more action. That was about the same time that broadloom carpet was becoming a big deal. Prior to that, it was sheet vinyl, linoleum. And my dad was selling, he had linoleum in that store, just tons of it. He moved to Missoula, opened up his carpet store called Lauren's House of Carpets at the time, and started taking over the Missoula area, and he did really, really well. Moved into a different location shortly thereafter, about 3-4 years later, stuffed it full of inventory. He claimed at the time that he was the largest carpet store in the state of Montana.
Yeah.
I think the guys at Pierce probably disagreed with that, but that's between them.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so then at that point, there were 6 kids in the family. And in 1974, my dad passed away, and my mom took over the business and ran it as best she could. My older brother dropped out of college about 1980 and went in and helped her run the business, and he currently owns it in Missoula. It's called Lauren's Carpet One.
Oh.
And then my younger brother manages it with him, and they've been doing that since forever.
After that, you were brought into Billings, right?
Yes. I graduated from the University of Montana. Then my wife and I got married, and we ended up in Billings. I was working for a motor oil distributorship all through high school and college. I started out in high school. My first job was as a pump jockey for a gasoline station, right? And that moved into, as I got a little bit older, driving delivery truck and going actually from Missoula all the way across into Bozeman for deliveries.
Wow.
And so I graduated college, and I was still working in a wholesale as an oil distributor. Ended up going to work for a competitor here in Billings, and the reason we came here is my wife's originally from Laurel. So, we ended up in Billings, and I worked for that company, A&I Distributors, here for 10 years. A fabulous company, run by an amazing family. So, yeah.
And then while you were in Billings, you decided to buy into Carpet One? Is that what I'm hearing?
It's kind of a unique deal. So I needed carpet for my house. And my mom told me to go visit the people at the Carpet Connection, Bob Erbacher and Dewey Gilliland. And I stopped in, and Dewey and Bob were both kind of interested that I'd come from a flooring family. And I should add that, when I was in Missoula, that we started working in the store when we were about 10 years old. It wasn't until you were old enough to drive that you could leave and go find a real job.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm getting carpet for my house here in Billings, and they asked me, would you be interested in going to work for us? And I was kind of a proud little, punk. I said, you can't afford me. And they said, well, let us take a shot at that.
Yeah.
And as we came into negotiations, and I'm about mid-30s at that point, and they asked me what it would take, and I gave them a salary and a number that I needed, and then when they didn't even blink on that, I said, and then I'd like an opportunity to buy in and an opportunity to buy you out. So these 2 gentlemen, at the time, the oldest one was 52, maybe a little bit, maybe 55. And the younger one was 45. Well, the 55-year-old Bob was the man who had created that business and really had built it up. And Bob said, let's take a look at that. So they put together a program where after 5 years, I was a partner. And then a few years after that, I was able to buy him out.
Wow. So you actually bought them out.
Yeah.
So moving forward after that, we're 30 years in the future now, roughly, right?
Right. Yeah, that was about 20 some odd years ago that we did that. And I bought out one of the partners, and then my business partner is John Erbacher, and he bought out his dad's portion.
Oh.
So, and John and I have been partners together, doing business together for over 30 years.
Got it. So let's compare the past back then from when you started to the current day. How has the market really changed? What are you selling? What's hot? What's not an item that you want to see anymore?
It's an item I don't want to see anymore. Oh. We've had a lot of great products over time. The thing that happens in the flooring industry, like most industries, is new products come up that kind of capture the audience. Back in the 90s, sheet vinyl was a big deal.
Yeah.
It's the original waterproof flooring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever got concerned about that. But the problem was it would get ugly after a while, and then and it required professional installation.
Oh.
You didn't just go buy 30 yards of sheet vinyl and go put it in yourself like you can with VCT or LV now. Carpet was really big. Carpet was put into dining rooms regularly. You'd never do that today.
Right.
Put in bathrooms,
I've seen
especially
it.
the master bath.
Yep. It's kind of gross, isn't it?
Kind of like to stay away from that.
Yeah.
So those are the biggest deals. Some of the hardwood trends from back in the 90s, like parquet flooring, have really become a thing of the past. And then hardwood back in the 90s was primarily a 3/4 inch solid, typically about 3-inch wide, and like you would see in most homes that were built during that time.
Mm-hmm.
The trends have moved wider planks, longer, which you can't do with a 3/4 inch, or you'll get buckling, bowing, crowning. And so it has to be an engineered. So engineered hardwood has really taken over the hardwood market.
Oh,
It's a more stable product. You can get longer lengths, you can get wider lengths, you can get a kind of a neater look.
Mm-hmm.
And then ceramic tile has become a much, much bigger deal. Back in the 90s, it was not uncommon to put in 8x8 ceramic tile in a kitchen. And now we would do nothing smaller than a 12x24.
Wow.
Oftentimes up to a 24x48.
Now, what is the reason behind that? Why go to a larger tile size?
Less grout,
Oh, mm-hmm.
kind of a cooler look, more trendy. That's, we're in the fashion industry, and it kind of changes. Everything changes.
Of course.
That's why when we talk about flooring products that you should be looking at when you're remodeling a house, the floor is a foundation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you go with a trendy foundation, that means you're going to be turning it out. If you want to do something inexpensive like LVT or carpet, that you can do something more trendy because it's more readily replaceable, as opposed to ceramic tile or hardwood.
Mm-hmm.
You can go a little bit more trendy. But if you want that house, I'll give you a personal experience. My wife and I built our second house in 2014. This is our forever home. We built in a location we never want to leave, and we decided to build the house that we never want to move out of. So we did ceramic tile throughout.
Oh.
The foundational color is a travertine that you will find if you go to the Vatican, or you go to Ephesus and look at the trends and on what they have in the streets and the floors. These things have transcended thousands of years. I wanted the same thing in our home, that we have a strong foundation that will transcend time. You can change the colors, you can change the furniture, you can throw area rugs in and out, but the foundational color is a base that will be there forever. So that's one of the
interesting.
things. I'll tell you, the other thing has changed huge from the 90s, the cost of material and the cost of labor.
Really?
The old experts from back in the 90s are retired out or passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So we have younger guys who haven't been trained in putting down linoleum or in some of the other new materials. Therefore, the manufacturers are creating materials that are more do-it-yourself friendly. That's where LVT came from. A skilled homeowner can put it in really quite well.
Mm-hmm.
Engineered hardwood can be installed relatively. If you're skilled in hardwood, you understand, expansion, contraction, and those type of things, and you know how to work with hardwood, you can do a nice job with that.
Now, Randy, I want to pause here. You touched on hardwood. I'm curious, does hardwood Humidity affects hardwood quite a bit, doesn't it?
Terribly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the biggest, our greatest concern.
So then how would I be able to have hardwood in my home if I'm living in a very humid environment?
So if you understand that the humidity is part of the environment, right? And all you need to do is control the environment. In your home, if you keep the doors closed, right, you can control that environment pretty well. So you're going to maintain a consistent temperature and consistent humidity by utilizing a humidifier. And then the other thing is you want that humidifier to be maintained on a regular basis along with your furnace.
Right.
And in our latest project, my wife and I just hired a local HVAC company. They come in twice a year, once in the spring, once in the just beginning of winter, and they go through the furnace, they go through the humidifier, the air conditioner, just make sure everything's working right.
Right.
In past, I haven't done that. In past, I tried to do it myself. In past, I failed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know the value of hiring professionals to do it right.
Randy, it sounds like it's a lot of work to be able to have something that's so luxury. When LVT you mentioned is so DIY friendly, I'm sure it has the same waterproofing capabilities or easy install.
You're right. LVT. Now, I want to qualify this because there are various levels of the LVT. When LVT came out in, I can't remember when it started coming out. Let's call it in the early 2000s. It actually was invented way earlier than that and used like in Walmarts. The vinyl that you see like in their clothing areas, that's the original LVT. It just wasn't put onto a backer board and click. That was created by a company that is now Shaw Industries that where they could click together a luxury vinyl and create a floor. So here's the thing, that the quality of the backer board, the quality of the finish is going to determine the longevity of that floor. All right, so you've heard about 20 mil wear layers. 12 mil wear layer was the original standard for residential.
Yeah. 20
was commercial. Well, now 20 is residential.
Interesting.
And then the thickness of the core used to be about 3.5, 4. I'm sorry, it started out at about 5 millimeters. Now it's down to about 3.5. And the problem is, it's going to be clicked together, right? So you have this core, and you're going to they route into the edges a locking mechanism so they can lock them together. The thinner you get, the weaker that mechanism becomes. And then if your floor is not perfectly flat, when you walk on it, it's going to shift a little bit. And those locking mechanisms will break. And when they break, you start getting shifting. You'll get, and then the other thing that happens is, even though that floor is a very, very stable floor, your house is still moving with temperature and humidity. The house is growing and shrinking. The cabinets are growing and shrinking. If you've ever looked in a kitchen and you look at the kitchen cabinets and you see a little line around the inset of the panels, that's because there's been some moisture loss in the cabinets. They've shrunk. That panel in the center has shrunk a little bit, and you need to turn up your humidity.
And then the click and lock start to expand or contract, creating bubbles or warps on the weak spot right there.
Exactly.
So, Randy, explain to me the difference between the LVT, we've got carpet, and hardwood. Well, aside from the look, but what are the key factors there?
Key factors from what perspective?
From like a homeowner's perspective, if a homeowner wanted to pick and choose, like, hey, for this living room, I would like this, but why?
This is what I'm going to do as opposed to that. A great question. A lot of that has to do with what the homeowner's what they're looking for, right? And key questions, like when a customer comes in and they're looking to replace the flooring in their house and they really know nothing about flooring or the current choices. A lot of questions go into it. Are you going to be in the home a long time? If you are, and you feel like you want to make a little bit larger investment, then you might be moving towards hardwoods. Do you have kids? Do you have pets? If you have kids in the family, probably going to lean towards LVT, which is going to take a little bit more of a beating. Doesn't quite cost as much, and it isn't necessarily even the cost of the material as much as the labor. Labor to install hardwood and labor to replace hardwood is higher than an LV product. And then another thing is, where do you live? Are you in a really dusty area or ranch? If you're on a ranch and there's people walking in with dirt and stones in their shoes, there are opportunities to scratch a hardwood or dent it, where an LV would be much more it'd be stronger than that. When it comes to carpet, bedrooms, absolutely. I would absolutely do carpet in the bedrooms. It's just softer, it's quieter, it's warmer. The other thing that I'm a fan of, not everybody is, but I'm a fan of carpet on stairs.
Oh.
And the reason I say that is I've had hardwood, I've had laminate, I've had LV, I've had tile. When you slide down one of those, because we're walking around the house.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yep.
You slide down one of those, that can hurt.
Yeah.
Carpet, you don't slide down as often.
Randy, I'll pause right here. If you're watching this, keep an eye out for the code. It's going to be popping up right here. Take that code and put it into Your Home Montana /giveaways and enter in for a free prize. Speaking of carpet, you were talking about sliding down the carpet on the stairs, and carpet is so soft, but why is carpet so soft? What makes it, aside from the length of the fibers, there's a pad under it, right?
Yeah, there's so much to carpet. I say in our business, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah.
It's true. Wayne Sheely at the Billings Gazette had a saying for new people. He says, "You don't know what you don't know," and he was absolutely right. And until you learn something, you don't realize you've got other questions, and you continue on. The carpet industry. There are so many different factors in creating that. People like soft carpet, even though they only feel it when they buy it. After that, they're going to walk on it.
Yeah,
right?
True.
But then the durability. So you have nylon carpets and polyester carpets, wool carpets. The Tri-X from Mohawk is a really interesting fiber. Engineered Floors makes a really cool fiber. But what makes it soft, or what makes it spongy? Let's call it more that than it is the softness. It has more to do with the cushion than it does with the carpet.
Oh.
A good cushion, just like we're talking about a good solid foundation, a good foundation is going to preserve your carpet.
So you're talking about the cushion inside. Now, I know Carpet One recycles that cushion pad anytime you guys go and replace it, right?
Yeah.
Nearly 1.7 million pounds replaced.
Yeah.
Tell me about how that project started.
I keep a dumpster outside my warehouse for my installers. So when they come back, they throw into that dumpster, and we're emptying it about twice a week. That's a 30-foot dumpster that's 8 feet tall. Been going out to the dump twice a week, and I was just trying to figure out how in the heck can I reduce that. And they were putting everything in there. They were putting pallets in there and cardboard and cushion. Yep. But the ones that take up the most space are those bulky items, right? So I identified pallets were easy. We'll give pallets away to people that want to cut them up and use them for firewood, or we give them to other trucking companies that can use them, whatever. Cardboard, I bought a cardboard baler. We just bale it up and we take it down and we give it to Republic, and here you go. Cushion was tough because you don't just get rid of cushion. It's made of urethane. When the urethane breaks down, they break down into really small particles. Taking it out to the landfill, I was like, how can we do something about this? And I found out there was a company that would recycle it, and they recycle it into, they'll make like park benches, but their primary product that they use it when they break it down, recycle it, is sound deadening for automobiles.
No kidding, really?
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting.
That is really interesting.
So my carpet cushion, and they only take they won't take the stuff that's filled with cat urine or that.
Of course,
They'll only take the right stuff. I have 2 balers, and I started this about back at either in the early 2020s. Started baling it, got a 40-foot semi, actually 48-foot semi, 40,000 pounds on each one of those. And
wow.
Over the years, we've sent 43 of them into recycling.
No kidding.
Now, here's the thing to think about. 43 semis. If you think about that going down the road, that's a lot of semis, right? You're going to be going, holy cow, what is this?
I'd hate to try to pass that.
That's how many that we've kept out of the Billings landfill. Just Carpet One and my companies, we've kept that out of the landfill over the past several years. And it's not easy. It's not cheap. I've got guys that fight me every day because it's a lot of work and it's a hot warehouse and they're working with all these big machines and everything. But to me, it's one of the most important directives that we have at Carpet One.
That's a wrap on this episode of Your Home Billings. If you're thinking about buying new floors or carpet or pulling the trigger on that project you've been putting back for so long, go see Randy at Carpet One on South 24th Street. You can find him at carpet1billings.com. And if this episode helped you, share it with someone who may need carpet or any kind of flooring. Subscribe where you listen and follow us on Your Home Billings. And we'll see you in the next episode.